The rusted hulks of decommissioned starships cast long shadows across the Kepler station's scrapyard as Marcus Chen picked his way through the debris field. His salvage scanner beeped intermittently, highlighting valuable components buried within, the twisted metal graves. 20 years of working these yards had taught him to look beyond the obvious. Sometimes the greatest treasures lay forgotten in the darkest corners. The faint sound stopped him mid-step. It was barely audible above, the distant hum of the station's atmospheric processors, but Marcus had learned to trust his instincts. The sound came again, a weak, rhythmic tapping from somewhere deeper in the maze of wreckage. Following the noise, Marcus climbed over the collapsed hull of a Zephyrian transport, his boots clanging against the alien metal. The tapping grew, stronger, more desperate. Behind a wall of twisted support beams, he found her. She was Corvani. He recognized the species from their distinctive crystalline skin that shifted color with emotion. Right now, her normally iridescent scales were a dull, lifeless gray that spoke of despair and failing health. Her lower body was trapped beneath a massive piece of debris, and it was clear she hadn't moved in days, possibly weeks. "Help!" she whispered in heavily accented standard. Her voice was barely a rasp, but her eyes, large, luminous silver orbs, tracked his movement with desperate hope. Marcus didn't hesitate. He activated his emergency beacon and began assessing the debris. The twisted metal beam was massive, easily 3 times his weight, but his exosuit's servos whined to life as he positioned himself for leverage. "Hold on," he told her, grunting as he strained against the beam. "What's your name?" "Zarahi," she managed. "My spine. I cannot feel my legs." The beam shifted slightly, and Marcus repositioned his grip. The Corvani's crystalline skin began to shimmer with faint streaks of blue. Hope, he recalled from his xenobiology training. "How did you end up here, Zarahi?" Her scales darkened to deep purple, shame, grief. "My family. When the accident happened, they said I was a burden, resources wasted on one who cannot contribute. They brought me here and left me." Marcus felt something cold and hard settle in his chest. He'd heard about Corvani culture, their rigid efficiency, their cold calculations of worth based on productivity, but he'd never seen it firsthand. "That's about to change," he growled, channeling his anger into strength as he heaved against the beam. With a grinding screech of metal, the debris shifted enough for Marcus to pull Zarahi free. Her legs were indeed lifeless, but she was breathing, alive, and that was what mattered. He carefully lifted her into his arms, surprised by how light she felt despite her 7-foot frame. "Where will you take me?" she asked, her scales flickering between gray despair and tentative blue hope. "No medical facility will treat a paralyzed Corvani. We have no value." Marcus looked down at her, his weathered face set with determination. "Then it's a good thing you're not dealing with Corvani anymore." The human medical facility on Kepler Station's civilian sector wasn't state-of-the-art, but Dr. Sarah Kim was one of the best xenobiologists in the Outer Rim. She took one look at Zarahi and immediately began barking orders to her staff. "Spinal compression, possible severed neural pathways," Dr. Kim muttered, her scanner humming over Zarahi's lower back. "Marcus, how long was she trapped?" "At least 2 weeks, maybe more." Dr. Kim's expression darkened. "In Corvani culture, this would be a death sentence. Their medicine focuses on prevention and enhancement, not rehabilitation. They don't even have concepts for disability support." "But we do," Marcus said firmly. Over the following months, Marcus visited Zarahi every day. Dr. Kim had managed to restore some sensation to her legs, though full mobility remained unlikely. But something remarkable was happening. Zarahi was changing in ways that went far beyond the physical. Her crystalline skin, which had remained that listless gray for so long, began to display colors Marcus had never seen in Corvani biology. Texts, warm golds when she laughed at his stories, deep emerald when she concentrated on her physical therapy, and brilliant silver when she spoke about her growing understanding of human concepts like compassion and worth beyond utility. "Your species is strange," Zarahi said one day as Marcus helped her into her new mobility chair, a sleek device that moved with her thoughts and gave her complete independence. "You saved me knowing I could offer nothing in return." Marcus shrugged, uncomfortable with praise. "That's not how humans work. We don't measure worth by what someone can produce." "My people would call that inefficient." "Your people," Marcus said gently, "left you to die in a scrapyard. Maybe efficiency isn't everything." Zarahi's scales shimmered with that warm gold again, and she reached out to take his calloused hand in her own. "I have learned something in these months. Humans do not discard their broken things. You fix them. You do not abandon your weak. You make them strong. You do not calculate worth. You create it." 6 months later, Zarahi had not only mastered her mobility chair, but had begun working alongside Marcus in the salvage yards. Her knowledge of Corvani technology made her invaluable. But more importantly, she had found something her own people had never given her: purpose beyond mere function. The day her family's ship arrived at Kepler Station, word spread quickly through the Corvani community that their dead daughter was not only alive, but thriving. They came to the medical facility expecting to find a broken creature ready to accept their mercy. Instead, they found Zarahi in her laboratory, her scales blazing with confident silver as she worked on adapting human rehabilitation technology for other species. She looked up when they entered, and for a moment, her colors shifted to that familiar gray. Then she saw Marcus standing in the doorway behind them, and the gray vanished, replaced by brilliant gold. "Mother, father," she said calmly, not moving, from her workstation. "I see you have found me." Her mother, a tall Corvani with scales of pristine blue efficiency, looked around the lab with obvious distaste. "Daughter, we have come to bring you home. Your condition has improved enough for basic function." "This is my home," Zarahi replied simply, "and my condition was never the problem. Your perception of worth was." She gestured to Marcus, whose presence seemed to bolster her confidence. "Humans taught me that value isn't measured by what your body can do, but by who you choose to be. They showed me that being broken doesn't mean being worthless. It means being ready to be remade into something stronger." As her family left without her, their scales rigid with disapproval, Zarahi rolled her chair over to Marcus. "Thank you," she said, "for showing me that some things are worth more than efficiency." Marcus smiled, watching through the viewport, as yet another ship arrived at the station, this one carrying refugees from a distant conflict. "Come on," he said. "Looks like we've got more work to do." Her scales blazed brilliant gold as she followed him, ready to help her adopted species do what humans did best: find the lost, heal the broken, and prove that worth wasn't calculated, but created through the simple act of refusing to give up on each other.